Hi you guys, welcome back to Smiley Said It. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Andy from the movie Child's Play Part 2.
How's it hanging, Phil?
Child's Play 2.
When Andy told Karen, hey, Mom, there's a possessed doll that was a serial killer and on the run and he is trying to kill me, she didn't believe it because it's in a doll's body, obviously. Chucky was a demonic doll. We all know that. I don't really have to get into the history of Chucky, right? Or Charles Lee Ray. Once she figured out that her son was not telling a lie, she did everything she can to protect that little boy. She did everything. She told Andy, she said, if you tell anybody about this, nobody's going to believe you. Nobody's going to believe me. And they're definitely not going to believe that a doll is possessed enough to kill someone and a soul trapped inside of a doll. When the sequel came out, I kept it in mind as I've gotten older and seen the movie because the movie came out in 1990. Child's Play 2 is my second favorite out of the franchise. It's hard not to have the first one be a favorite because that's where it all started. But the second one is definitely very close to being my favorite. Also because I can relate to it as someone that was in foster care myself. And so I want to talk about briefly the covering of Andy's experience being in foster care right along with his foster sister Kyle, who, by the way, is T as fuck, and she's also a part of the series. If you haven't watched the Chucky series that was based on Sci-Fi originally, I don't know, I think it still plays on Sci-Fi, but if you haven't watched the series, you definitely should watch the series. It is really, really good. The budgeting was budget. I know it has mixed reviews, but I personally love it up to the season 3. The first 2 seasons ate. I'm not even gonna hold you. Look how she ate that. And it was giving everything that I needed. Mamas, what are you doing? So Andy is put into foster care because his mother, Karen, is actually put into a mental psychiatric clinic where she is... Nobody believes her. Karen said it. She's like, it's Chucky, it's the doll. This is what caused all of this. Chucky is a killer. And you already know that people are not going to believe her. They believed that Karen was the crazy person. Even though Andy said, no, this is what happened. They're not going to believe the child. And if they do believe the parent for saying that there's a doll killer out here that's responsible for taking my best friend out, yeah, they're going to believe that she's crazy. They took Andy away from his mother. And honestly, it really is sad.
Oh my God.
Andy's foster parents are Phil and Joanne. Joanne actually ended up being one of my favorite characters in the film until later on, where she put her husband first over Andy. But I'm going to get into that in a few. Phil and Joanne is talking to the caseworker that is in charge of, handling Andy's case. Joanne is on board. Joanne is like, this kid needs a home. He is clearly in need of some nurturing and some loving after a traumatic experience of having, quote unquote, a mother who is deranged in the head. But little do they know, Andy is actually the one who's seen everything, experienced everything from the beginning to the end. His mom is not in a mental clinic because she's crazy, right? They're feeling bad for Andy because they believe that his mother is the one that's deranged. But that's not really it, child. That's not really it.
I don't think so.
They don't understand that they're taking in a child who still believes, and he's right, that there's a demonic doll that is a serial killer. The husband is not on board. I don't even know why he couldn't be honest with Joanne. The caseworker's like, are you guys prepared to take in Andy? Phil is like, well, yeah, whatever makes you happy.
Lying bitch!
First of all, as someone that was in foster care, you do see a lot of people. I'm not going to get into my story too much with my foster mother because I already been there, done that. And yeah, there was I did not have a pleasant experience. If you want to hear about my experience in foster care, I do have a documentary on it here on my channel. is probably my first video that I probably uploaded on this channel specifically. It's called Almost Home, and it's my experience in foster care, which was not very easy. I was in foster care with my sister for 4 years, and it was between the ages of 12 and 16. Important years of my teen life, right? So watching Child's Play 2 as an adult, it really brings back certain memories for myself. The isolation that a foster kid feels when they're placed into a foster home is very real. Remember, these are children that are placed into a stranger's home, navigating and self-comforting themselves, right? So Andy is a part of the family now. They decided to become Andy's foster parents, and so they took him home. And on their way home, of course, they almost get hit by a truck, a good guy truck at that, which is insane because here comes the triggering, here comes the trauma.
Trauma. Rage and trauma. Rage and trauma.
Andy can't even catch a break the moment he's heading to his new home. Phil is like, oh yeah, whatever you want to do. First of all, as a foster parent, both of y'all should be equally on board for taking in another foster child. Remind you, they already have a foster child, and her name is Kyle, who's a teenager, a rebellious one at that. And she is bad to the bones when it comes to her fashions, because she is one of the reasons why I love me a nice Dr. Martin platform boot with a chunky white sock at mid ankle. I love that look. Oh my god, I love it. It will never go out of style for me. Give me some black sheer pantyhose with some thick white socks. You know what I'm talking about, the tube socks, the scrunchy ones that scrunch up at the ankle, and give me a nice black platform boot and put on a little leather jacket over the shoulders. Stop playing with me. With the cigarette. I don't smoke cigarettes. I never have, but you get what I'm saying. Anyways, he gets to the house. They introduce him. They show him to his room. They unpack his stuff, and he has his own bedroom. If you're a foster kid, that is a privilege. I don't care what nobody. That is a privilege to have. Most foster children don't have their own rooms. Your foster parents are well off. You know, they live in the suburbs, or they have, you know, a better financial status. But I was in foster care in the hood, and my foster mother was a single mom, so I didn't really have the privilege of having my own room. I did share it with my sister, though. Again, if you're in foster care, it can be so vast as far as like how you're set up. You know, you can have your own room. You might have to share it with 2 other kids. One of those kids might be a danger to you or themselves. When you're a ward of the state, anything goes. It's not pretty. It's not fun. Yeah, it was hard for me personally. I have so much traumatic experiences. Being a child that young and having your mom being in an institution based upon what they deem to be a lie, but it's true. That's a whole nother like level of trauma. I can't even imagine. Like, Andy literally was so strong for his age to be put in that situation. All over a demonic doll. Like, it's crazy. The first thing they do, Phil lets him know, you cannot touch this fine china. You cannot touch this heirloom that we have here. Be careful. They lay out the rules and everything like that. They get him settled in, unpack his suitcase, and he overhears talking to Joanne by saying, we might have made a mistake. I don't think he's gotten out of his system. So Chucky finds his way to the house.
Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors.
And he ties up Andy. And Kyle, being the rebellious teenager that she is, which I'm so lucky that I wasn't on her demon time, because I had a strict foster mother, but I so badly had moments of wanting to run away. It almost did on a few occasions, but I never snuck out and then snuck back in the house. Kyle, you tying up little poor Andy and you playing some games on him? So she's like, I didn't do anything. He knocks Chucky off of him once they untie him, and he's yelling at Chucky, and Phil's like, I've had enough. And he takes Chucky and throws him down the stairs in the basement as a way of saying, this will not be going on in my household. Little do he know Chucky is a resilient bitch. So Kyle and Andy are in the basement doing laundry, and Kyle has her cigarette. You know, she loves her cigarette. And he takes a puff out of the cigarette, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "You're gonna get cancer, okay?" And he's like, "Well, you smoking it too." So Andy and Kyle are walking to the bus stop. I'm gonna tell you, this girl has the steez. He goes to school. Chucky finds him at school. Whoops. The teacher is behind with a ruler. I don't know how you can beat someone to death with a ruler, but Chucky succeeded at it. Phil is an incompetent husband is because he should have been honest with Joanne and said, "You know what? Dealing with Kyle is enough. I don't know if we can take on another child who's also dealing with traumatic experiences, whether we believe it or not." They should have been upfront and said, "No, we can't take him in yet." Because all they did was put him through more trauma. Andy went down the basement and Chucky was down there, and he had the little meat cutter. I don't even know what it's called. It cuts your meat.
Whoa, 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 hey, 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 hey.
He had it in his hand, and Phil was coming down. He was like, "Put it down," as if he was thinking that Andy was gonna like cut him up or something. Phil is coming down the stairs, and Chucky's underneath the stairs with a little hook, but he hooked the father's legs. He falls and breaks his neck down the stairs. And then Joanne comes, and she's like, "Oh my God." She literally blamed Andy on him tripping down the stairs and breaking his neck. She was disgusted at Andy and poor Andy. So the police come, the coroners come, the ambulance come, and Kyle gives Andy a little bit of support. He's on to the next foster home, basically. Joanne is like, "I don't want to take care of this kid after my husband died," and she really believes that he's responsible for her husband's death, and she should have listened to him.
I can't trust them. They don't know what they're doing.
So Kyle's in the backyard on the swing. Chucky was in the room while Kyle realized and found Joanne killed, and he tried to get Kyle. Andy ended up being put into I think it's a group home, right? A group home where other children reside at before they get placed. Shout out to Kyle for coming through for Andy. And once she realized that Chucky was real, she did her big thing. She went after to make sure that she got him. So she went to the group home and realized that their caseworker was killed by Chucky. Honey had her face planted in the photocopy machine, not photocopying her death. He somehow manages to get on a newspaper truck with Andy with a knife. There was a black guy driving the truck. My sister and I died this scene all the time. Every time we watched it, Kyle's driving the car, chasing this truck because it has Andy and Chucky on it. They finally get to the child's play factory where the dolls are made. And he's like, "You crazy bitch. Let go."
Crazy bitch.
It's just phenomenal. They get into the manufacturing warehouse, and that's when everything go down. I don't need to go over that scene because the scene is iconic. Honestly, it's one of my favorite scenes in the whole franchise, with all of these dolls stacked up in a warehouse, so you don't know who's the real Chucky. Kyle saves Andy. Child's Play Part 3, you get to learn a little bit more about what happens with Andy. And I do love Child's Play Part 3. The first 3 movies are a complete solid trilogy. Sorry to Joanne, but I don't feel sorry for the husband.
Oh well, all you can do is laugh.
Kyle's a good final girl. You know what? I don't really hear too many people talk about Kyle as a final girl. Not only did she save herself being a foster teen, but she saved another foster kid in the process from a demonic killer doll. Fabulous. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.